Good morning, everyone. My name is Rick van Bruggen from Neotechnology, and here we are again recording a remote session for our Graph Database podcast. I'm joined today from Sweden. Peter Neubauer is on the other side of the line. Hi, Peter.
Hi, Rick. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, it's good to be on the phone with you again. It's been a while, huh? Yeah, Peter. So, if you don't mind, as most people will know you, but would you mind introducing yourself a little bit for the people that don't know you yet?
Yes. Regarding Neo4j, I'm one of the three founders of Neo4j, together with Emil and Johan, who are currently working at Neotechnology. Actually, it was us three who came up with the first version back in 2002 and wrote the first version that went into production.
That's a long time ago, huh?
That's a long time ago, yes, 13 years.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's been quite a ride. How did it start, Peter? How did you guys get into Neo, and where did it come from?
It did start with us having written or gotten into content management systems, and we were at that point managing images. And one of the major problems there was that every photographer and every picture agency had their own rights management for when the images could be licensed to whom, to in which country, and so on. So there was a lot of business logic about that, and modeling that in what then was Informix Universal Server, our database that was one of the most capable database engines at the time, an object relational, database engine.
Didn't they get acquired by IBM? Informix, they did, right?
Yes, they did. Yeah. And this was the last version, 9.14, that came out before they were acquired. Okay. And we were trying to model our business logic in that engine, and it just didn't scale. We got into like 5-6 joins, and even with the at the time modest data in that database, it was just taking ages, like minutes, to get answers back, and that's not good enough for a backend that needs to serve on the web.
Oh, wow.
So at that point we examined our system architecture and found out that the database was the bottleneck, and we also at that point had some of the data blades or plugins to Informix, and one of them was dealing with semantic words for translation, namely WordNet, a semantic initiative to structure the English language, and that kind of projected a network model of these connected words like hypernyms and synonyms and concepts into the database, and we saw that and thought, like, this is a very interesting approach to model data. It's very close to the UML diagrams and so on if you translate it to our domain. Yeah. So we tested that plugin for our domain just to see if the model fit, and it did. However, it was still slow. So since it was such a beautiful match, we then went about and actually wrote at that point, Java Enterprise Java Beans 1.0 implementation over Postgres that modeled that kind of structure, what is now, and that actually had the first kind of Java version of what is now the Neo4j API already fleshed out.
And did you call it a graph API at the time, or did you call it a graph database at the time, or what did you call it at the time?
We called it a network database or network engine, and that's where Neo partly comes from. Of course, the matrix was very popular back then, but it also stands for network engine, of course. So we had to make it work.
Fantastic. Okay. I don't know if I've ever told you that, but one of the projects that I've first worked on was a project for DHL, which was also using Informix data blades.
Yeah, this was a very good database.
Yeah, absolutely. Super. So where are you now, Peter? What are you doing now? You're working for a new startup, right? Mapillary?
Yes, I left Neotechnology last year, mostly because I found, I'm an early startup guy, and Neo4j has a big, group of followers now, and there's so much activity around it. So my feeling was that I can invest my time in something that is again almost impossible. So I joined Mapillary as a co-founder, and And the vision there is to do a visual representation of the whole Earth, possibly with even a 3D model connected to it.
Oh, wow.
So that's what we're doing. People are submitting basically thousands and thousands of images taken by their smartphones or action cameras and so.
Yep.
And we, in the background, do a lot of computer vision and analytics on this data, and we connect the images into what you could describe a big global giant graph of visual information.
Wow.
So Neo4j is an essential part of the architecture there.
Oh, is it? What do you use it for? What do you use Neo for?
We use it for like connecting the analyzed images, both in space, for instance. So you have explicit connection between one image and the nearest images in different directions, and then even connect computed visual connections. For instance, one image overlapping another image. So if two images look at the same, view of the turning torso, then we will know it, and we will actually create a connection in that image graph. From this image, you can translate the object turning torso into something that can merge into the other image. So we know how to project, and we even store the 3D point cloud of these objects in Neo4j, or at least references in Neo4j. So the whole navigational logic, if you then want to construct, for instance, a street view from these millions of images, is done in Neo4j, but because it's perfect use cases for Neo4j. Basically, fetch all the connected images in kind of a vicinity of, say, connected images depth 3 or 4 or 30 if you're going fast forward, right? Prefetch these into a local graph in JavaScript, and do that along certain rules while you are traversing the backend graph. For instance, time filtering, or filtering just certain color shades or certain directions.
Wow.
Or whatnot.
Super. So that's really interesting. I think people can get involved with the Mapillary project as well, right? There's like an app that
Yes.
you can download and that you can participate in the project, right?
Yes, anyone can submit pictures and anyone can help improve the data. It's like OpenStreetMap or Wikipedia.
Yep.
So you can improve even, for instance, street sign detections and object detections that we do in the images, and feedback to, for instance, the OpenStreetMap project and to Wikimedia. Yes.
Super cool. So, Peter, maybe one more question, and because we keep these podcasts quite snappy, where is this going? Where is Mapillary going? Where is Graphs going? Any vision on that? Do you mind sharing that?
Yeah, I think the concept of connected data is growing a lot, and people are expecting and willing to put in much more effort into making data connected, and that is not just on the global linked data initiative level, but even on pragmatic in-system level. So where I see Graphs going is that they approach enterprise grade data, even in normal installations, and as we see it here with a lot of developments in virtualizing hardware, and so you can partly build bigger monolithic kind of graph blobs. In Mapillary, we have now over 1 billion properties in the database within 1 year. That is one thing. The hardware is letting you scaling up these installations quite a lot, so you can scale up quite easily. And the other thing is that sharding graphs will be the forefront of data science. That is one of the remaining kind of challenges with graphs. They're very easy to query and so on, but sharding them is not trivial.
Super difficult, yeah.
It's difficult, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm sure you've heard of the work that Jim Weber and co have been doing on that. So, and we are really in the middle of starting that project again and making some good progress there.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. Right now in Mapillary, we will go for bounding boxes and shard by geography. And if you have a domain that lets you shard in a kind of like interesting way, then you can do this already now. But auto sharding would be awesome.
Super. Peter, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It was a pleasure to talk to you again. I really appreciate it. I wish you so much luck and pleasure and drive at Mapillary. And thanks again. I look forward to speaking to you soon.
No problem. Nice to talk to you too, Rick.
Okay, cheers.